Welcome everyone to day 25 of my 100-day project. I am working in oil and today started a little bit different. I sketched out a face. So I was looking through a website called Unsplash, and Unsplash is a place where you can go to get copyright-free images. And I was just looking up pictures of older women to get some inspiration for today's painting. And I found this one image of a woman wearing this really bright, colorful hat. And I just loved it and I thought it would be super fun. And so that's what I did for today. And I just sketched out, it's kind of a loose sketch just for me to get the proportions captured so that I can have her face and the hat together and not have to be worried about having to move things or whatever. So I went ahead and sketched that out and used a little bit of my Chelsea Studios brush cleaner to make a wash to tone my canvas panel. And some of my graphite, I was using graphite for my drawing. Some of it smeared and kind of got lost a little bit, which is fine. I only needed it to just sort of mark my major reference points. So what I'm doing is I'm starting out with the background to carve out her head, and then I'll go into her head and do the features. So a little bit of negative shape painting, if you will, with her shirt and the hat, just so I could establish where her head is. And from there, I could go in and add the features pretty easily. So there were two things I really wanted to play up today. One was the wonderful lines on her face. I just think they give us all so much character, and I want to incorporate that more into my work. So I wanted to do that today. So I'm using big, bold lines. And then the second is, of course, I love to use color. So she's one of my greenish blue people. I've talked about this in a previous video, how often that's the color of the skin tone that I use for many different reasons. One, I think it's easy for people to find themselves in something that may not be perfectly representational. You know, it's easier to find yourself in something more abstract than it is in something that doesn't look like you. So this doesn't really look like anybody. So anybody could find themselves in it. So that's number one. Number two, it's sort of a nod to my daughter and I. We both have olive skin tone, which means we have a green undertone. And so I always talk about how we are green people and all the joys that come with having that olive undertone. So a lot of my people have this green undertone, and I just kind of dig it. So I've got one side of the face more cool than the other. And I'm just starting with the shadows and adding in some of the shadows, some of the highlights, and building up to the features as I go. And it looks a little bit crazy because I don't have eyes in and her mouth is still funky. And it's really just like bold shadows and lines. And it's just part of the process. So you just go with it. And I'm using the same palette I've been using, which is phthalo turquoise, quinacridone violet, pyrrole red, pyrrole orange. I didn't use any of the pink today. Indian yellow, titanium white, and a little tiny bit of cinnabar green light. So all the other colors are mixed together from that combination. And my palette is super dirty, and I'm just adding little bits of fresh paint on top. Some of the paint underneath has kind of dried by now, so I'm just layering on top of it. I might need to clean it here in a day or two, maybe this weekend. I do want to do one in cold wax, so that might be a good time after using the cold wax to clean my palette. And then we'll see where we land with it. I kind of like not cleaning the palette. It just gives me mixes that are a little more natural looking, a little more neutral, a little more toned down. So I kind of Plus, I'm sort of lazy, and cleaning an oil palette's kind of a pain in the butt. So I just leave it, and that's cool. At this point, she's pretty much got all of her features in. The highlights are in her eyes. I'm just brightening my brights and darkening my darks. I'm adding in some detail around those wrinkles, around her mouth and her 11s are on her forehead. And now I'm going in and adding a second layer onto her hat. And those colors are super, super bright, so I'll end up toning those down here in just a minute. But I also scratch into the paint a little bit to give it some texture, so it looks maybe a little bit like a straw hat or a raffia hat or something like that. So you'll see that when I get a close-up here in just a few moments. And I really enjoyed those colors. Added a little bit of light color for the background, a little bit of orange around her eye to give her eye some sparkle. And there she is with her wrinkles and her glory, all that history. I could have done a lot more with the wrinkles, but I spent a long time on this today, and clearly I did not set a timer. I was just having fun playing. So thanks so much for joining me. We have just 5 more days left of oil, and then we are on to the next one. Thanks so much, and I hope you're doing well. Take care, and until next time, bye.